Bum bum bum. What's up, folks? Today we're going to talk about Warcraft Rumble. Excuse me, I'm trying something a little bit new. I did a screen cap on my phone, now I'm just adding audio to it. This is Blizzard's first mobile-only game, and it's an auto battler, which is a whole genre I'd never seen before. Um, but it's been fun, and honestly, I tried it on launch, wasn't super impressed, but then was curious to try something a little bit new. And then they got me with the ads. I like the ads a lot. So I'll try not to pause this video too much, but I'll pause a little bit to talk about it. So this is your grid. This is where you buy stuff. A quick note on monetization. It is not pay to win. It is definitely grease the wheels with money, though. And there are a lot of cases where you can do more money. When you're starting out, it is very, very easy to acquire in-game resources as your cards start at low level. And they do have a level aspect and they level up. But then as you do the single player campaign, there is a moment where you hit an XP wall. And at that point, your progression slows dramatically unless you spend money. Now, there's definitely free to play options, and I'm exploring those now, so you don't have to. I wanted to pause on this one. So it is monetized, but not too bad. And I've been enjoying the free to play version just fine, including being fairly successful in PvP. I did want to pause on this guy because you have individual decks of six cards and a leader. Right here, you can see Baron Riven, whatever his name is, the Death Knight leader from World of Warcraft, and then you can see your individual cards you've got there. And then each one does eventually unlock slot types. So you see the skull type and those skeleton warriors there in the middle. Also matches the one on the top, so they get a bonus level. Cards are level dependent, so they do get a lot more powerful. They get better damage, better hit points, more effective rules as you level them up. And at first I was looking at that, I was like, oh, cool, those are significant numbers. All right. And then I hit things. So hang on, let me real quick talk about the free to play elements. So see on the map, I've got individual missions I can play solo against different bosses and levels. On the bottom left, you can unlock quests, which will give you XP for specific cards or minis, quote unquote minis. And then you've got PvP, which is how you actually battle other players. And then you've got rewards that reset every day that are actually quite generous. And then on the bottom, you've got your store page, your army management page where you choose your leader and the decks they use, map, which goes to the single player. There are dungeons and raids I haven't unlocked yet, and then there's a social on the very bottom right. Now we'll get to it. I've talked too much. Just wanted to highlight this. So as you complete a region where you see those little dots there, I believe each one is 5, a new one will unlock, and you're going to see me go up against Sun. So I beat her. Extremely hard wall based on level. That was a really, really tough match. So let me see which one. So I'm doing Son of Arugal. And this is with my Baron Rivendell deck, which is undead themed, using the cards I have. And so you'll see what kind of goes on here. But no, it's quick. Matches take, I think, 5 minutes tops because they are on a timer, even with overtime. You go up various lanes from your base and you can capture things as you go. And this is, you can do a quick exploration and see what these individual things do before you actually start the match. Once you start the match, you see the minute is 3.5 minutes. The timer is 3.5 minutes, excuse me. And you have resources on the bottom that you can then use to play your minis based on their value in the yellow number under the model on the bar on the bottom. You can see some casting spells. My stuff is in blue, my opponent's is in red. And you can definitely see here where level comes up, where my poison guy is barely hurting those Lordaeron guards because they are higher level. And this is sort of the moment in the game where I progressed. Before, I was beating these different missions with maybe one, maybe 2 tries, and that was a mistake. Watch the turret take out my miner. And you do see the gold mines on there where you can collect extra resources in game. And this is a particularly nasty match because the opposing base starts right in your face. So they can spawn stuff directly on top of you. And then also you have to deal with that before you can progress. And again, see that level. All of his stuff is level 9, where most of my stuff is not. And if your stuff is lower level, it is very challenging. You see there, my troll does fine because he's one of the few minis I have that is actually an appropriate level for this match. And my skeleton warriors do okay too. But look at that poor level 8 guy on the left just get wrecked. Ouch. So I took that base on the right, which is really good because that will give me a little bit of a buffer to deal with opponents. And also as Baron Rivendell, you automatically spawn skeleton warriors who are equivalent to his level 2, which is really nice. So they've gotten pretty durable for little free guys that pop out. And those will help me screen a little bit, but as you can see, not enough. And this, again, is a very challenging match. Before, when I started playing, it was pretty level independent. I was just going through and just playing matches on the single-player map. And I was winning 80% of them on the first try, and then a handful took 2, and then once in a while there'd be one that would take up to like 5. And now I'm hitting walls where it is extremely challenging to progress at all, which is kind of cool because it means that the progression has hit a spot where it's actually like difficult, but at the same time it can be a little frustrating because it does slow your progression a lot. But the gameplay I actually really enjoy. Again, it's really fast. We're watching a 3.5 minute game. It's fun to see your stuff level up, and it's one of those games where you do kind of get attached to your different minis. Of course, they're mostly generic. I've only got Baron Rivendell as the named guy, but like my little skeleton warriors are my bros. They've been with me for a long time. So, and there are some models that are in minis that I started out with that I don't use anymore because I have options that are kind of more appropriately in theme or have abilities that match up. But then others I've had the whole time. Like my Troll Hunter is really, really good because that's something I've used since I very much started the game. It's one of my first models up there. You can also see if you're looking closely that some of those models or minis are upgraded to the point where they have secondary traits. See that Banshee and my leader on the bottom right both have a little icon that shows the extra ability they do. And that's something you can level up for that definitely ups your power level in game. And I'm doing okay. As you can see, there's a health bar on the top where my blue bar is on the upper left where I'm definitely lower. I haven't actually done, ooh, interesting. I haven't actually done any damage to the, see if that video pauses there. I haven't actually done any damage to the opposing general there. Yeah. Not sure why that's loading, because this is a file on my computer. Actually, there it goes. Okay. Sorry about that. But yes, so once the timer goes down, you get to a sudden death. You're going to see in a second here where resource generation is doubled so you can play minis more quickly. At the end of that, depending on the game mode, if you're so in single player, so in this is single player, if I have not beaten the opposing boss, I'll just lose outright. It'll say it's a draw or it'll say it's a defeat and I'll lose. In PvP, when you're playing against a human, there's a sudden death where both of your cores start losing health at the same rate. So whichever one was lower or whichever one is actively taking damage will lose and the other player will win. So that's kind of a nice way to finish the game so there aren't draws. But in single player, a draw is basically you lost. So here I'm about to get wrecked. Look at all that stuff coming down. And this is where you can really feel the levels, where if you have a level disparity, your models just can't compete 1-to-1. So this normally would not be as bad of a matchup as it looks, except that my stuff is outmatched. And that's something I've been understanding recently now that I finally am outmatched on stuff. And we don't even get to sudden death. They just destroy my face here. There are also spells you can do in addition to units, but I didn't have any in this deck, which may have been a mistake. And death by chickens. Burr, burr, burr. And then you can see you get some progression randomly with a model that was in your deck in that match. And then also there, again, I mentioned the quests and such where you can get experience with the specific minis. And then we're going to go back and look at that home screen just a little bit before we call this video. I really am enjoying the game a lot. The slow progression is a bit of a bummer, but there are things like raid dungeons and quests, and then there's an Arclight Surge event that will reactivate areas you've already covered, so you can replay those areas with a slight challenge or a twist to get some in-game resources as well. Now, those are a couple times a week. But yeah, so they're a helpful way where we can keep progressing to the point where I can actually beat these guys. I believe since I recorded this video, I have actually beaten that full stack. It was extremely challenging, and now I'm quite stuck, so I'll have to level up a bit and get back to it later. There you have it. Our Warcraft Rumble. Hopefully that was a fun video, and until next time.